Hi everyone, Sebastien here. So today I want to talk about the M3S sitting right behind me. So this is the M3S. Do not mind the golden color. A few years ago we did a customized job for an important client. He wanted to have golden Megaformer, so we made the golden Megaformer and we actually liked it. We kept them for ourselves. So this is the M3S. So very quickly about the dimensions, the M3S is a little longer than the M3. The M3S is again built on what? The same frame, the same chassis, exactly. So this over here, the legs, the rail is the same for the M3, for the M3S, for the M3K, for the M3X, and come on, you've heard it before, the Evo 1. Beautiful, guys, absolutely. So all of these machines share the same chassis, the same skeleton, okay? So the footprint cannot be that much bigger or much different between machines. However, the M3S is 127 inches in length. And you're like, well, how come all these machines are different length? Because they have the same chassis. Well, look at the platform on M3S. It sticks out, right? So what I did on the M3S, I started to work on the platform a little bit more. The M3S obviously came after the M3. The M3 was a huge success. People love the new simplicity of the quick release springs. So here we have the same system. You have the quick release springs on the Megaformer. Here you have black and white simply because we're trying to match the overall color of the machines. But the biggest change that I made really on the M3S was the platform and the carriage. Everything else is the same as the M3. So the rotation of the handles over here, the handlebars, the same. The back of the handles, same as the M3. If you order an M3K or an M3X, you're gonna have exactly the same handles. These are what I call the rotating handles. I've made several videos about the rotating handles, but this is again the rotating handles. So if you want more information on the rotating handles, you can go back to these other videos that I created about those handles. So what really is different about the M3S in relation to the M3, because the M3S came right after the M3. I think the M3S came out about in 2014, so it was about a year after the M3. That's kind of how it works, right? As soon as a machine is released, you can already know that there's already another machine in the work and another one after that, right? So I always have one machine that, when I release one machine, there's one that is about to be released right after, and there's also another one that will release right after this one. So there's never a time in Lagree where I don't know what machine I'm releasing next. I always have a schedule. The schedule changes sometimes because some of those machines depend on some technological breakthrough. Sometimes we have achieved them, sometimes we have not. Anyway, to make a long story short, the M3S was an easy evolution of the M3 because all we had to do is to re-engineer the platform and the carriage. And that's it. Right, the platform is the same on both ends, so really I'm going to talk more about the front platform. For the front platform, what we did is on the M3, I don't know if you remember the conversation, but on the M3, there was the first platform to literally have a set of handles for the wheelbarrow, because in 2012, 2013, I'm still very much a wheelbarrow boy, okay? Wheelbarrow, wheelbarrow, wheelbarrow. It's one of my favorite exercises. I was teaching it all the time. So you have to understand that when I make modifications on a machine, I make modifications on how I use it, on how I curate the method. So this is why it's very important for you guys, to stick to the method. Otherwise, if you create your own method, you might not like the evolution of the machine. It might not coincide with how you're using the machines. I'm evolving the machine based on how I'm teaching. I'm teaching every week, I'm teaching every Sunday, and I'm creating the method. So I evolved the M3 to the M3S based on how I was using the M3. So we had this pair of handles used for the wheelbarrow. They were highly effective. I noticed that some people sometimes didn't want to use those handles. They were looking for like another way to kind of place their hands. So what I did is I added these rails over here, these platform rails. These are amazing, again, for wheelbarrow, bear, if you want to do plank exercise. A lot of people like these handles over here, which I call basically the platform rails. And then I added, or I included, a second set of handles right on the back end. So if you look at the M3S platform, It's basically an M3 platform with 2 sets of handles on the front and on the back of the platform. And on the side, you have the platform rail. So now, we're talking more about muscular endurance workout, right? On the M3S platform, the M3S platform is the first platform where now you can see that I'm understanding that it's very important to stay with an exercise, and then we start to already thinking about variations and progressions. And that all comes with the M3S. The S was kind of more for sports, fitness, it was really a bit more intense than the M3, right? And the M3S is really the departure from, all these kind of exercise we're doing on the M1, on the M2, on the M3. There are still some exercises we're doing laying on the back. On the M3S, this is my commitment to okay, we're moving away from this exercise. We're going to let go of some of this exercise, and we're going to focus a lot more on basically the core muscular strength and muscular endurance type of workout. And this is why you have this platform over here. So the M3S platform is one of the biggest platforms that you'll find on any Megaformers. It is wide, it is deep. It is this is also the first platform where I put an indicia on the platform. So on the M3S, it's the first machine where we actually have a number 0 on the platform, and we also put the number 12 on the back. So I'm trying now to give some directions, because a lot of people, when they were looking at the M3 before, were kind of still confused. And I'm like, well, on the carriage, it shows 1 to 11. So 1 is the front and 11 is the back, but for some people, it wasn't that obvious. So we put a 0 on the front platform, a 12 on the back platform, and that's it. Now this was, very obvious. And also, of course, you have the rotating handles that are different on the front than on the back, right? So we have the front platform, we have the indicias, we have the rails, and then we have the carriage. And what I did on the carriage, what was different about the M3S and the M3, if you remember on the M3, we had 2 eyelets and then 4 pockets. And so what I decided to do on the M3S, I decided to basically integrate the pockets with the eyelets. So now, instead of having basically 6 opening, we have essentially 4 opening, but they're longer and they're larger, right? So now we have 2 big opening on the back of the Megaformer, on the back of the carriage, 2 wide opening on the front. And these openings are amazing. I would say that in retrospect, what I should have done is 1 single large opening on the back of the carriage, and 1 single large opening on the front of the carriage. But this is it was not obvious for me then. It is obvious for me now. Always the way it is, right? The rest of the carriage is identical, right? It's about the same size. It's about 47 inches in length. So again, this is one of the longest carriages that we have, just like the M3K. The width is about the same at 32 inches in width. And then here we have exactly the same indicias, right? You have your white center line. The numbers are the same as the M3 carriage. So really the only major difference in the carriage is the integration of the pockets with the eyelets to create a larger opening, again, to give the students more options for anchoring your hands, your feet, your knees, and your elbows. The M3S also came around the same time as the ramp. So in about 2014, we started to commercialize the first motorized ramp. And so you already see over here that you have way more anchoring points, and that machine is definitely more useful at an incline than the M3. Then we have the same spring change that we have with all the other machines, right? The rail, like I say, is the same. And then, of course, you have your rear platform that matches exactly the front platform. And again, you have the same thing, right? 2 handles or 2 sets of handles on the front of the platform, 2 sets of handles on the back of the platform. As far as the accessories are concerned, the spring load is going to be the same. You have 3 heavy, 5 lights. The springs are working fine. Most of the time when you work on the Mega, you're not going to use all the springs, right? You're going to use just maybe 1 or 2 heavy, and then you'll use a few light ones, right? So the idea of having 8 springs is also have spare spring. So when people tell me that, my machine is broken, I'm missing a spring, you're missing a spring, replace the spring, you can still work with the machine. If you're out of a black spring or out of a heavy spring or out of a light spring, you can still use the machine, right? The accessories, again, I will do a separate video on the accessories. I feel like I've done so many already, but I'll do another one. The accessories here are, again, the same, right? So I don't have any accessories on this machine because usually when I present a machine, I don't like to have the accessories because the accessories are kind of hanging, and for me, they take away from the look of the machine. But You have the bungee bar on the front. You can put your bungee rope, okay, your bungee cable. Then we have the rotating handles. You can put your covers for the handles. We have the platform strap, right? So the platform straps on the M3S is going to be different than the M3 and different than the M3K. Unfortunately, the platform strap on the M3, M3S, M3K is always different. On the M3X is the same as the M3. On the Evo 1 is also different, and on the Mega Pro is also different. As we are going to retire the M3, M3S, M3K, I know you heard me right, we're going to retire these models. I promise you that starting with the Mega Pro, we're going to keep the platform and the carriage pretty much identical so that the accessories are compatible regardless of the model. So unfortunately, the straps, the platform strap is what you have to change every single time you change model. Same thing with the carriage strap. The carriage is different on the M3S. So the carriage strap on the M3S are going to attach differently than on the M3K, M3X, Evo 1, and also the M3. However, the X strap, love the X strap, is the same regardless the model, even on the Mega Pro. So the X strap is a truly universal product. Then you have your long black cables and your short red cables. I want to let you know that the distance, the travel distance between the carriage and the platform is not always equal on all the machine. Here on the M3S, you have 39 inches. 38 inches to 42 inches is about where I want the travel distance to be. On the M3, I think it's about 37 inches, or maybe it's on the M3K or the Evo. I know one of those one has a 37 inches, another one has a 42 inches. So the problem is like it affects the distance, it affects the length on the long black cables. So you're going to see that we're coming out with a long black cable extender. So now we're going to have short, long black cables, and if you need some extra length, you can actually get this 6-inch extender, and that will be the best solution. That way, regardless of the machines that you have, you can buy the same long black cables, and you can either decide to extend them or not with the extender. But the long black cables will work the same here on the M3S as they work on the M3, M3K, M3X, Evo 1. And then, of course, you have your red cables, and it's the same thing, the red cables. You know, some machines you're going to feel that the red cables are a little too short, and that's because of where the cables are attaching on the machine, right? But usually you're talking about 1 inch or 2 difference. So the short red cables, the long black cables are compatible with the M3, M3S, M3K, M3X, Evo 1. It's just that for some people, they might feel that the cable is either too long or too short. So there's a way to basically rectify this, either by attaching the cable differently or adding the little extender if you want that. But, you know, it hasn't really been an issue too much across the studio. And there you have it, you know. So all the exercises you can do on the M3, you will be able to do them on the M3S, of course. And you'll be able to do some more variations because of the new anchoring point. So you'll be able to do more variations on exercise like, you know, super lunge, for example. Super lunge is not an exercise that I advise you to teach on the M3. On the M3S you can. Why? Because now you have the support of this large opening over here, so you can feel that you actually can anchor your feet in that exercise. So you can still teach the M3, the super lunge on the M3. I just don't think it's safe on the M3. I think it's safer on the M3S, right? So that's can give you an example. Here you can, of course, do the bear on the M3. The bear, you only have a couple options for your hands, but on the M3S, you have many options. And you have even more options on the M3K, on the M3X, and on the Mega Pro as well. So what I do with the evolution of the machine is I offer you more anchoring options, so you can do more variations on your favorite exercise. So can you do more exercise on the M3S? And the short answer is yes, but you can still do them on the M3, right? There's not anything new that you can do on the M3S that you cannot do on the M3. It's just that on the M3S, you have more opening, you have more anchoring option, you have more traction, so you're gonna get more control over some exercise than you are on the M3, okay? And it's the same thing, it was the same evolution from the M3 to the M2. Because of the design and the layout of the carriage, you can do more exercises with more control and ease on the M3 than you do on the M2, right? That's kind of the evolution. And that has to do with essentially the design of the carriage, the layout of the carriage. If you have any questions about the M3S or any of the Megaformers or Evo, please let me know. My name is Sebastien Lagree. Thank you for watching.